Hey, good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Divya, Sonal. Okay, all right. Okay, we'll wait for some time. Students are still connecting. Hey, good evening, Pragya, Ankush, Mohan. Good evening, Apsal, Rakesh. Siddharth, good evening, everyone. We still see many of them are joining. We'll give always that 5 minutes grace time. Good evening, Naveen. Good evening, Vinayaka. Good evening, Vinaya. Good evening, Pallavi. Hope all of you are doing okay. What is the score today? Anybody following Test cricket? I saw fourth wicket down. Hanuma Vihari got out in the lunchtime. Any idea what is the latest score? Let me quickly check. Maybe day one might have got over. 6 wicket down. Okay. Okay. Oh, looks like Rishabh Pant played well today. 97 balls, 96 runs. Okay. Shreyas Iyer. Okay. Yeah, Pant looks like missed a century. Pretty good, huh? One day 357 is a good score. Even if you go by 90 overs, right? Uh, like something like 360 is a good run rate. That means we may have a result, I guess. Mohali ground, right? So we should have results, I feel. So yeah, Pallavi is telling, sir, I have a request. Yeah, Pallavi, go ahead, share what is your request is. Virat misses 50. Yes, I think today's is his 100th Test match. He missed out. But yeah, good to see him, right? He's kind of getting back to his original form. So hopefully he will start how he was. He's been having a rough patch, I guess. All the captaincy issues, controversies, plus out of form in batting. He will come back for sure. Good evening, Vivek, Shruti, Dhrubajyoti. Even Hanuma Vihari batted quite well. I think he scored somewhere around 60 plus. I thought he will hit a century today. But Pant innings I didn't see. I was just busy with work. While eating lunch, I saw Pant and Kohli got out quick succession. Then I stopped. I finished my lunch and I moved on. So Pallavi is telling, sir, since you're working employees, it's a difficult uh, to cope up with. As the session is interesting, Don't want to miss a single bit of it. So from next time, please check if you can postpone a little later, sir. I don't know, later in the sense you want me to make it after, do it from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Is that what you are telling, Pallavi? Chetan is telling, good evening. Good evening, Chetan. Good evening, Sri Lakshmi. At least to 6. Let me see, because 5 to 7 works well for many reasons. One is like the regular students, they finish the class around like 6 o'clock, right? Like we are just buying 1 hour time there. People who are learning in the physical classroom, right? And 7 onwards, again, it gets busy when the classrooms gets tied up, and the evening batches, even the internship batches run from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So 5 to 7 works well for me. Means not for me, means considering all the classes that we run in, and also students can, even somebody is studying, they can also attend, right? 5 to 7 is a reasonably good slot for DISHA workshops. Because already mentors are a little unhappy with me, that that I'm hijacking a lot of their lab classes. They need, and this time it's happened that 2 days we did monthly workshop, monthly meeting, and then now it's fifth day today, like a test match we are playing, and still I think we need one more day. uh, at least Monday I need at least an hour to complete the session. So already like 5 + 1 6 days they are kind of cutting in their lab session. They're little, it misses their portion. As you know, our course is quite intense, even 5 6 days not doing lab. And even for evening batch, right, 6 to 7 p.m. The lab sessions happen, which is not happening for this week. So whenever I walk and see the mentors are looking at me like this, right? So we'll see. Let me check with the mentors what could be the, if at all we wanted to reschedule, because this has been working well for us. 5 to 7 DISHA works for the, because this is not only for the online students, even offline students who are attending the physical classes attend, because I don't want to do one session for them and one session for you people, because this is about placements and resume building, right, which remains the same for everybody. Let me check, Pallavi. I'll take this feedback and then see how better it is to do that. Okay. That's what I think. Siddharth also saying it's not possible for me to attend the DISHA workshop every day. Can we fix a few days for it? That's what once in a quarter I do the DISHA workshop. I think last time we did around October time frame, October and November time frame. In fact, it's delayed this time. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. I'll take your input. We'll see what better time planning can be done. Okay. All right. So very good evening, all of you. So welcome to the 5th day of our DISHA workshop. I think we have been having quite a long discussions so far. We started off with monthly meeting, and then we had a updates from placements, followed by we had this Q&A asking. We had a lot of if and else conditions discussions we had. Then subsequently we moved to resume workshop. And interestingly, as I said, right, your batch, this particular batch has been highly interactive. As I told, by today, I would have kind of moved into the interview preparation in a normal batch, but I could not, because I still have some more left in resume preparation. Some not much, but some left in the resume preparation session itself, so that I can start with the interview facing from today. Okay? Because a lot of questions, and I don't want to discourage you. I don't want to cut you short. By my idea is not to finish it within time, but ensure that you guys understand. Because these sessions are very important. Even I've seen many students who are technically good. They have done their effort, but they do a blunders when they come to preparing a resume, or they do some silly mistakes while attending interviews, because of which they won't get selected. So that way, having this orientation, it will be very important, right? That's what we do in the DISHA workshops, right? Okay, all right. So there are questions coming up. I'll take it up, but before that, as always, I would like to know about what did you learn from yesterday's session. What was your major learning from yesterday's session? Can you just share? In the meantime, I'll check what Afan is telling. Sir, as you said, if you do a lot of project, you'll be able to vouch for us. How many times how many times can you vouch if a student didn't get selected after a vouch from your side? No, it is not about putting a recommendation and telling the company to hire them. That's not the idea at all, right? In the time of shortlisting, right? At the time of shortlisting, If we come to know that some students have done more projects and they've done very well, at that time we can put a word so that they get a shortlisting. But it is not, once the panel takes over, right, it is their call. We don't get into that at all. It's not that we are putting a recommendation saying that, hey, this guy is done a 15 projects, so hire Afan. That doesn't work. Please note, right, that means we are putting our reputation at stake. What we can do is that, suppose due to some reasons you are not getting a short list, but companies also ask, right, I shortlisted 10 people, do you have anybody to add? So that way, one or two members, if we know really, right, we can add you and get you a shortlisted. That's what. No, we cannot get you a job, right? It's not a recommendation. Please don't think, don't get us wrong. It is where we have a small window where we can help you to get shortlisted, provided you worked on so many projects, right? So tell me about projects, sir, because somewhere we are stuck. This time we just lost our confidence, sir. I don't know what you mean by that, Vinaya. If you can be a little bit more detailed, it will help me. Then yesterday's workshop, I think people are summarizing. Sandeep is telling what to write in a resume, and then Kumar Ankit is telling skills plus project is a resume, right? That's a, if you ask me, yesterday's summary was that, right? Skills plus project is equal to resume. Just all the information, right? Your extracurricular activities and paper presentations and even your certifications, everything we said not important. Only skills and projects is equal to resume. Okay. Sandeep is telling us, so suggest, in what we should say, why we should hire you question. Hang on, Sandeep, we'll talk about it in the interview session. We are still in the resume. We'll answer that, how to answer some of the tricky questions like that. Okay. And then Rakesh is telling what we have done project, but we should have proof for that. Okay, I don't know what you mean by proof. As long as you worked on some, I don't know what project you are referring to, Rakesh. As long as you worked on the project, you have the source code, you can put. I don't know what type of project you're talking here. Maybe you can be a little bit more detailed. Then Afsal is telling resume format is what he's learned yesterday. Neglect ration card and other ID card numbers, right? We put all the ID card numbers, passport number, Aadhaar number, and all. Please don't do that. These are all very old, concept. As I told, once you are getting selected or they're about to make you an offer, they'll send you an employment form where you can take all the information and then they will make a offer, right? Or sometimes companies, once you join, they ask you to fill the employment form. So you don't need to fill it up just because of the sake of it. And as I told you, what is the reason why we write so much in our resume about this Aadhaar card, ration card, or even making certain information which is not relevant? Because you didn't have anything to fill, right? All you had was your college project which you're not confident about, and your skill set are more about Windows and Notepad and other things, right? So with that, with which how we'll be able to we'll be able to apply for companies, right? That's why we said the skill set that you build in the emergency and the project to demonstrate, you will remove all the other things. It's reverse if you see, right? Then Shravana is telling project can be same for different students in emergency, but learning and the challenges from the project are unique to the person. Yes, it is a very important observation, very important point that you should be telling your interview also, right? Because the projects are same, and but the challenges each student faces is different, and that's where you differentiate, right? And when you say challenges and learning, when you mention, what are you indirectly telling the interviewer, right? Indirectly you're telling the interviewer, I really did implement this project. So you'll face challenge only when you do things, right? When you purchase from a shop, right, or you copy from your friend, you will not have any challenge, right? And even if you have, you will not be able to explain, right? So when you really go and implement only, you face the challenges, which is what you need to mention in the interview later, right? We'll talk about it, right? And Divya is telling, in some company they're mentioning that location Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, and this location decided by us or company. If I prefer Chennai, and they give importance to that location, right? Again, Divya, it purely depends on the company. Okay, when they put a site location, for example, companies like L&T who have pan India presence, right? Those type of companies only. Even I think Capgemini has a similar multi-site offices. So when they put this particular location, right, it is their choice basically, largely. Okay. For example, it depends on from which project there is a more demand, where they need to fill up the engineer position very quickly, right? So they will prioritize based on that. Okay. But some companies, what I have seen is when they are considering, they do give some weightage to what your preference also, because in the sometimes the application they'll ask, right? They'll give all the locations, say which is your preferred choice. Maybe you can tick, right? So they'll consider some aspect of that. For example, if there is a project available in Chennai, and you are also interested in Chennai, there is a chance that they may deploy. But my request to all of you, which I've been telling from the beginning, is do not be location centric, right? You guys are fairly early in your career. I don't know, Divya, about your background, right? Unless otherwise you have a family, you know, because we have evening students or, even our regular students who are married and they have children, etc. Unless otherwise there is a big challenge where you cannot move out of the city, right? You should be location independent, where all you are looking for is to grab an opportunity. For example, recently one of my friend who got a very good offer in Hyderabad, but he's been staying in Bangalore for almost like 20 years now. Okay, so it is very hard for him, but he said, this opportunity is very good, so I'm relocating to Hyderabad, right? So even though he has family, children studying, etc., etc., right? So you should be willing to prioritize your career. If you prioritize your career, you should be flexible. But freshers, you don't have any dependency, right? What is that? You pack a bag and move wherever it is, and of course they will give you a good office place, and all these places will get a good accommodation also. So do not have this type of mindset that I want only a particular city. Maybe after working for some time, then you can decide either you get a transfer from the same company, or you can leave the company and go to another company to the location of your choice. But currently you are not in a situation where you can demand that. But I would suggest, even though they ask for the location, right, you need to go where the company says, not, company will not come where you say, right? Okay, it's a reverse. So please understand that. Okay. Then there's a hope that clarifies, Divya. Then there's a question from Vivek, sir. What are engineering services company? Are they similar to service-based company? All right, this is a very interesting question. I think I forgot to answer this question, Vivek. I think you already asked this question in the previous day or so. Okay, probably it just slipped because too many questions are running in my screen, right? See, there is a concept of product company and the service company, right? If you look at an Indian companies like Wipro, Infosys, right, HCL, Tech Mahindra, and HCL, they are typically known as service companies. So what do you mean by service company? What do you mean by product company, right? For example, I'm making this particular, remote control, and I'm putting a label as Daikin, right? Okay, so I call myself, I'm a Daikin, I'm a product company because I'm selling this remote control. Probably I'll sell a AC set also to the end user. Am I right? Okay, so where the guy who puts this label is called as a product company, right? But what happens is, in order to do this particular product, right, I need many sub-component into it. For example, I have a PCB inside it, right? Then I have so many cases and all assembling it, as far as the hardware is concerned. Then there is an embedded firmware that gets into it, which is a software part of it, right? There are 4 or 5 pieces coming together, only I get this remote control, right? Okay, so which I call as the product. Now, out of these 5 items which I have, the board and then the assembly and then the firmware and testing, etc., right? It is not necessary that Daikin will do all the 5 activities, on their own. Please remember, right? Product company is what you see the label, but all the 5 items they will not be doing on their own. Even if you take an Apple, even if you take, for example, OnePlus, or even if you take any other company, right? They will not do everything on their own. Some they will do on their own, some they will give to some other company, right? So that company where they give the work, right, where they give the outside the company of, let us say, Daikin or any phone company, that is what is called as an outsourcing, right? You would have heard this word, right? Where they don't have expertise, or they don't want to do that, or by doing in some other location, the price wise it will work out cheaper. For example, China has been known for manufacturing due to many reasons. They have a great infrastructure, things can move faster, government give a lot of subsidies, right? And then their basic infrastructure in terms of road and logistics is much stronger, right? So typically any company does design, they will get it manufactured from China. Am I right? Okay. So they don't want to do manufacturing in China, in their country, right? Okay. Of course, it is changing. Okay, after pandemic, right? So this is where what happens is a company, where they do work. Let us say Daikin wanted to do their embedded firmware from an Indian company where it is working out cost effective, and also they don't want to hire a team and then do it on their own, right? So that is where the service company comes into picture, right? Where they give one piece of work to an external company and get it done. This is what we mean by a outsourcing or a service company. This is how started. But what has happened is over the years, what has happened is these service companies also have evolved. They said, it's something like this, right? one of my very senior used to tell me this example, right? I'll use it so that you can relate it better, more than this Daikin example. Suppose let us say I wanted to make a biryani, right? So let us say I want to make a veg biryani, right? I have basmati rice with me, I have masala with me, but I don't want to do vegetable cutting. What I will do, I'll give it to one particular company who will buy the vegetable, right? They will clean it, they will cut it, and then they'll give it to me the size and the quantity I want, and the various vegetables I can order, right? I can order potato, carrot, whatever, beans, etc., etc. Then what I do, I get that cut vegetable. Then I have cooks with me, so who will make the biryani, and then I'll put a label and then say whatever, let us say Daikin biryani, Jayakumar biryani, and then I can sort, right? This is what we mean by a outsource model. But what has happened over the years, as I'm telling, right? The company which is cutting vegetable for me, right, which is like HCL or Wipro, they also matured. They also built a capability. They're telling, you know what? You don't bother about cutting vegetable itself. So you give the entire biryani work to me. I will only create rice. I will only put all the masalas. I will only cut vegetable. And you can also come and check whether its quality is good. I will do everything and give it to you in one big container. What do? You only take it out. You only put your label and sell, right? Okay, that is what we mean by where the software services or services company are becoming engineering services company. Engineering means the entire product development is done in an outsourced model. Okay, so that's where companies come into picture. Again, these are all more of a business models and how companies are operating. Just since that Vivek has continuously asked this question, I missed it, right? And I appreciate that somebody at your age can think like this, right? So I want to answer this by sharing these details, right? But what matters to you, right? So you will be either one of the vegetable cutters or one of the guy who is boiling the rice, or you are putting some package, right? Because you will be joining as entry level engineers. For you, it doesn't matter whether you are working for a product company or a service company or a big branded company or small branded company. What matters to you is that when you go to an office, when your boss gives you a job, what is the nature of job? And by doing that particular nature of job, can you learn? And over a period of time, when you do that particular job, can you learn much better and grow more in terms of responsibility so that you can grow in your career? This should be your priority. Often, you can know this provided you are interested in, about business models, etc., which I really appreciate. That's why I'm also explaining these things. But as far as an engineer is concerned, that too, when you are joining as an entry-level engineer is concerned, I don't think you should be worried whether it's a service company or product company. Anyways, you are joining as an entry-level guy. They will give. When tomorrow you go to the same company, they'll give what? They'll give you and say, Vivek, come here, beetroot. You cut the beetroot. I'll teach you how to do that. That's a job they'll give you, right? One small piece of work they'll give you. Okay? I'm not telling you to do a biryani company. I'm just telling analogy. Okay? Is it clear, Vivek? Engineering services. Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Then there's a question from Nishu. Sir, some companies give range for salary. So do they clarify the figure later? So how do they clarify this from the company, right? So some companies will have a range. Okay. First of all, why do they have range? Any idea? Why should they have a range? So the company says the salary will be in the range of, let us say, 4 lakhs to 6 lakhs. Why should they have a range? Any idea, Nishu, or anyone in the call? What is the reason they have the range? So the explanation will become easy for me. Don't know. They will fix it based on our qualification, based on experience. Rubin is telling me the nice and the correct answer. Okay. Many of you forgot this particular point. One very important part called performance, right? Experience is one aspect of it, right? It is main factor is performance. Suppose I'm hiring a entry level engineer, right? When you are, in fact, just before I come into this room, right, my team is interviewing, we are also hiring for various positions. One of my team member was, hiring, interviewing somebody. She asked me a question, right? Okay, sir, I interviewed this particular person, but not, he's okay. He's answered few questions, but he did not answer all the questions. But I'm little bit doubtful. Okay. I don't want to reject him because he's okay, but he did not answer. He was not very impressive, right? So what would be your recommendation? You will say, okay, average. He's attended the interview, but he's average, right? Okay. Am I audible now? Hope I am audible now. All right, great. So basically, there is a disconnect. There's an audio disconnect that has happened. That's why I could not. All right, I'll proceed. Right. So please note, there all of you will be differentiated based on performance. Right. What happens is some companies want to differentiate after they recruit. After 1 year, let us say 3 people join a company. Right. Okay. Depending on their performance. Right. One may be rated like 5 out of 5, another maybe 4 out of 5, another maybe 3 out of 5. Right. By the end of first year, their salaries will not remain the same. Okay, because companies only need to what do you call promote, or they wanted to encourage and build a culture of high performance by giving more rewards, more money, more bonuses to people who are on the higher performance side. At the same time, somebody is an average or below average performer, you may not get so many salary increments, right? Which is normal, okay, which happens in all the companies. But what happens when you see that particular range? Some companies wanted to do from the right from the time they hire, that too even as a fresher. That's why they have a range. They will see, for example, I have a range of, let us say, 5 lakhs to 7 lakhs. Depending on the candidate, they will pay. For somebody, they'll pay 5, they'll pay 5.5, somebody pay 6. They have a band. They have like what you call various slabs, right? That's what it is. So it is purely a performance aspect of it. Hope that's clear. Is it clear? I think Nishu asked, right? Um, so Manoj is telling, sir, what I had seen is Capgemini is hiring only the people who have done courses. If you get selected, would they provide training or what, sir? Nothing like that. I don't think they're only, see, every student gets hired depending on the skills, right? And how we are able to demonstrate that. It's not that Capgemini is hiring only students who completed. There are many students who not completed also join. It purely depends on your performance. But after they select you, there will be a domain specific training. Okay. So yesterday I was explaining this to in my at home, right? Where we had, as I told, right, we had a meeting with a company, I think, what is it? Robotics, right? Automotive robotics. I was telling you, right? I went home, I was talking to my wife, and then she couldn't understand, right? She comes from totally different commerce background. Then I explained, this is what we do. I told her that, what, in our embedded course and IoT course, we guys teach you how to make dosa, right? Like, dosa making is a difficult process, right? Make the batter and put it into tawa, make it into round and put some oil, right? And then, flip it, ensure that it is crispy, right? That's what we do in our embedded systems course, okay? Which is the most difficult thing. For example, learning a C programming, learning Linux, microcontroller, these are all the fundamental blocks in any embedded system you build, whether you build as I told, whether it's a, remote control, phone or router or switch, right? Everything it's a common. And whether it's a service company, product company, doesn't matter. This is a basic fundamental skill, like making a plain dosa. But once the company hires you, they may need some specific skills, right? What they do, they top you up with some specific skills. For example, one company may be working in an automotive segment. Another company will be working in, let us say, telecom. Another will be in an IoT. Another would be, let us say, in let us say, consumer electronic, right? So what they do, they take our students who are having this fundamental skill, which is hard skill. It's not easy to skill them, right? So, but once you've done this particular basic or plain dosa, right, they'll top you up with the additional skill set, which is what you call onion dosa, or masala dosa, or cheese dosa, or something like that. But believe me, if the dosa is good, topping it becomes easy for them. That's why they come to us. Okay. In fact, yesterday's company, they who came, right, they said, can you also put the topping and give? We said it's very hard for us, because making you guys teach make the plain dosa itself is a very challenging thing. If you make, say, then one another fellow will say, okay, fine, I want a rava and onion mixed combination, one say cheese and paneer combination, right? Then we make one combination for one company. It becomes very, very hard for us to run the trainings, right? So these are very, very clear. Our students are good in making plain dosa. Take it and topping them up with a masala is easy, right? Once you have masala, you can just pour it. You will be able to do much easier. That's what we promise to the companies. Yes, all the companies, when they recruit from us, right, they know that you come from this background. That is why they check for your foundational skills. Once you are comfortable with that, they'll start putting you in the real-time project. Is that clear, Manoj? Okay. Is that clear, guys? Your plain dosa, masala dosa, when it comes to skilling, what you are learning in our institute is that. And that's why even students come and ask me. Okay. That's why I tell you people, right, that your 2 days of workshop on robotics, right, or 3 days of workshop in IoT, right? It's not a great thing, even though it looks very, very flashy. It's somebody coming and telling me that you might see in Bangalore. It is famous when you go around nearby my area. There'll be one cart guy will come, right? Who will put 99 varieties of dosa. Have you seen that? I don't know in other places whether it's there or not. 100 varieties of dosa, right? Okay, so it looks very, very attractive from look of it. Somebody says, I know robotics and I know this IoT, but what you've done, you've not done real building, right? They'll give some ready-made thing, you try to assemble, and you think actually you made the dosa. Somebody has already given a dosa masala, you just put it together, and then say you really learned IoT, but you never go in depth and learn. And people by now you have done a C module and IoT module can relate what I'm saying to, right? The depth is, that's why let me repeat, the plain dosa is the most challenging thing. You try to make it, I try to make it, when it make it round, it comes as Australia, right? Okay. So on topping is always easy. Okay. So please ensure our approach will remain fundamental. In fact, this is the same answer I tell to yesterday's company also. Any company, they will come and tell, can you add this particular skill to our course? We said, our course itself is so hard, right? So in depth, right? So weight, where the intensity is quite high, right? On top of it, if we keep on adding, this will become 1 year program, 1 year master's program we can do, right? We don't do that. Hope that's clear. They'll take you and then subsequently skill you on the specific activities, right? All right, that's a question here. Okay, some more questions coming up. I think we'll take questions anyways. We'll come to that resumes anyways. Almost we are done. Okay. Afan is telling, sir, when I ask people who are engineering graduates, what do you do exactly? They can't define it. I ask many, but nobody gives me, clear answer. Why is there any secret element to it? I don't know, Afan, what do you mean by what they do? Okay, probably I'll show you one slide to make it much more easier for you. One of the slide which we do one more workshop called career building. I have one slide which will give you, where we'll give a very clear definition of, at least in the embedded side, then you go what you will be doing on a day-to-day basis, right? We have a slide. Probably I'll show you in one of the discussions. Okay. So Abhilash is telling, sir, I don't know if you answered. Can you please clarify what company mean by 70% throughout academics? Do they mean 70% on BTech aggregate and or it is 70% each semester BTech? I think we had a long discussion about this. When they say 70% throughout, they refer class 10, class 12, and in your engineering. And in engineering, we already discussed, it is every university calculates their score in different ways. I don't know whatsoever may be the reason, but end of the day, what is the way how your final percentage is calculated, whether that is above 70 or not. That's what it matters. But throughout, when they say it is class 10, class 12, your engineering, but in case you've done a MTech, it includes MTech also. Hope that's clear, Abhilash. Okay, and let me come down. Abhilash is telling, I missed the Wednesday session. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for repeating. All right. No problem, Abhilash. Okay. Is it clear? Shall we proceed with today's session? Yes. It's important, right? As I told, right, your batch has been highly energetic, and I don't want to discourage, saying that no, I will not answer your question. And all. Okay. All right. So let me get back to the slides. What we've been doing in the last few days. As I told, few elements left in my resume preparation, so we'll cover that, right? So what is it we've been doing last 2 days, right? We first learned how not to write a resume, right? We saw in a notepad, I asked you to, we asked you to mention various sections in your resume. And then yesterday, if you asked me, right, a day before yesterday, we knocked off everything. Only we left with very basic two important elements, skills and projects. And the additional information you need is your name, email ID, phone number, academic details. That's it, right? There's no more, information required. So unfortunately, we fill so many unwanted information, which is nowhere related to the interviewer, or it is not at all impressive for the company, right? Anyway, this just these are all some slides which I prepared during pandemic, right? It was a tough time. 2020, if I look back this slide, the timeline in which I was preparing the slides, right? All of a sudden, students were kicked out of their homes, and this was this is the first workshop I did, I think in the March 31st or something like that, 2020. So I wanted to make it really interesting to the students. So I put some photos there to, to cheer them up, and, we did some quizzes and things like that just to make them, and we announced some winners and things like that, right? So I hope you can recognize the people in the photo. At least I'll ask here. I think some of you already answered. Fairly easy guess, I think. Who are the people in the photo? Okay. Virat Kohli and Ashish Nehra, right? Yeah, you can see how small he was, and Ashish Nehra played so long for India. I think Ashish Nehra played under 7 captains or something. He had a very long career. Of course, he has got a lot of injuries on and off, right? Silently, he was such an effective player. Players like Ashish Nehra, we don't recognize, but he played in a such a long career, right? So anyway, so we just discussed about this, right? Basically, how your resume is like a brand. Like for example, whenever we take popular logos, whether it's a Flipkart, or you say Maggie, or you say, for example, Tata, or Xerox, or anything like that, right? Some kind of a messaging comes to your mind. There is some uniqueness. So people say, whenever I say Tata, trust comes into my mind, right? Whenever I say Maggie, 2 minutes comes to my mind. The college life comes into my mind. The late night before the exam comes into my mind, right? So basically, there is a unique position that these brands or these products or these companies have in your mind, right? So that is how resumes are, right? Even though all of you are from the similar backgrounds, going through the same course, each of you are unique, and your idea is to call out that uniqueness in your resume. That's what we have been talking from the beginning, right? So fundamentally, we say your resume is your brand. So what is a brand? Brand is a name, term, design, which distinguishes one product from other. Okay, so this is what it is. So why we need to do this? What is the reason why we need to be very careful in building the resume? Obviously, there are 3 points which are putting. How are you going to differentiate yourself from others in the talent competition? Now, I took an example of phone. We even discussed about an example of buyer and seller. There are so many people who are selling to me. Assuming I'm a company who wanted to recruit who is a buyer, there are so many sellers who are selling their skill set. So how I'm going to differentiate one student from another student, right? That is one part. Then second thing is that how are you going to let the recruiter know that you are something special in terms of skills and capabilities, right? How to create an impression on somebody before even they see you, right? We discussed about the interviewer don't even spend a minute, right? I took an example of your resume is like a reel, right? Hardly 1 minute, within which they make a decision whether they should call you, they should not call you, right? How to do that? So all the questions we ask, right? We discuss in detail, and the answer lies in the fact that how you build a very impressive resume. Okay, that is the initial discussions we had. Then resume building, you can see here resume building need to be done carefully. We don't use the word called resume writing, and the way we use the word building, because you can see here this is like a what you call the building set or the Lego boxes, where when you play as a kid, right, you assembled one by one. and you applied your own creativity. One will construct a house, one will construct a wall, one will make what you call a car. Okay, one will say I'll construct a bungalow, one will say I'll construct a farmhouse, right? Given the same building blocks, right? We all created our own imagination or our own creative element of these building blocks, right? Your resume is like that, right? You need to create it in your own way so that it reflects your uniqueness. Okay, so that's what we said. So resume should be, it made it very impressive, and we need to really spend time in building it. Do not rush things out. Do not make it as a last minute activity whenever Lokesh asks for it, right? And he also saw how resumes get shortlisted, how much time the interviewer take, less than 1 minute, right? And why they should reflect their uniqueness, and how you can showcase the uniqueness, right? Uniqueness is not going to come just because you have some great hobby, right? Uniqueness is going to come only when you have more skills and then more projects, or even if you have more project, as we discussed, how you have done the project, how well you are calling out your challenges and learning. So that is where the uniqueness is going to come from. Okay. And what are all the building blocks? Header, skill set, projects in reverse chronological order, previous experience if any, and any other parameters, right? So here we saw the skill set and project are the most important thing. Apart from that, we put the name, email ID, phone number, and academia. That's what we came into the sections. We removed one by one, right? You can see here no personal details, nothing. Then we gone through our template. It's been carefully designed, and you saw every field has got a specific meaning and purpose. And you can feel free to modify. It is not that you need to, I'm giving a template and you must follow that. This is a guideline or this is a recommendation from our side. If you feel that you are taking care of all the points discussed, but you are creating your own template in terms of color, look and feel free, no problem. For us, the most important thing is, right, the representation of information, and what information you represent and how you represent it is what the important thing. Okay, someone will say, no sir, I'm not liking this color and I'm not liking this font size, I want to create my own. No problem. But don't miss out the fact that skills and project need to be called out. That's a message, right? Not whether you use a pink color or a purple color or a black color. That I will leave it up to you. No problem. Okay. So important thing is about the project and skill set. Okay. Feel free to, whenever, even when you're applying on your own, many of you would be doing that with your own, network or job portals, etc. Feel free to use it outside. Okay. Very important thing is, I don't know, many of them, you need to spend quality time. Do not do it as a last minute activity. It is not something which you can build overnight. After this workshop, let us say today we are completing the resume preparation. At least you need to spend 1 week minimum, at least every day 2 hours, right? 5 into or 7 into 2, 15 hours you need to spend to come up with a reasonable quality resume. Don't write it chumma just like that, right? Every section think, is it required, not required? Just remind whatever has been discussed. Anyways, all these recordings will reach you. I think your monthly meeting today, we kind of closed it. It should be reaching your monthly meeting videos Monday and Tuesday one. Okay, today or max by tomorrow. This videos, anyways, I'll finish it and send it. Right, even the monthly meeting slides, everything will reach you. So similarly, this video also will reach you. Just replay in case if you forgot some points. Then ensure that every section you pay enough attention and then write it. Do not write it in a haste, or do not write it in a last minute urgent manner. Okay. Keep it updated. This is one very important part, because what happens in our course, right, as you move between more modules, right, your skill set keep on improving. If you remember the skill set that I shown yesterday, right, in the resume template, it is how it look in the end, right? Initially you will have only C, then you add data structure, then you add Linux internals, right? It will keep on growing, and your skill set will keep on growing, and your project will keep on growing, provided you work on it, right? So always ensure that you upload whenever there is a interview being asked, whenever there's a placement application is asked, right? Upload the latest one with the latest module and latest project you've done. Okay. Suppose let us say, for example, I am doing Linux internals module now. Okay. But I applied for a company 2 weeks back. My Linux internals is over now. I completed one project. Add the Linux internal skill set there. Add at least 1 or 2 projects in the Linux internals project, right? So you can keep on increasing your project. So if you are, suppose you do reverse, I completed my Linux internals, but my resume says only I done C programming. Please note, you are the loser. When the interviewer see, he will assume that you only know C programming, and he may not get a view that you know Linux. It's something like that. You have a great feature in your product, but you're not talking about it. That feature is of no use, right? So please ensure you keep it updated, especially when you move from module to module. You need to keep on updating it. That also knows that you are continuously learning, right? Latest skill learn should be on the top, not necessarily Sandeep. Skills I've already given, right, in some form, right? We divide into programming languages, etc., etc. You can follow the same flow. Project, yes, you put that latest one on the top. Suppose you've done a Linux internals project, right? So Linux internal project, data structure project, and then C programming project, right? So it should be like that. The latest one should be on the top with respect to project. Skill set wise, no issues. Anyways, you can mention in the logically in the same order which I shown in the template. Okay. So let me just move on. Okay, last but not the least, right? Your resume is your brand, right? There is a latest viraling dialogue by Allu Arjun, right? In that, this one, what do you call? Pushpa, right? He takes the blood and keeps it in his shoulder and say, "This is my brand," right? Do you remember that, guys? He tells it to the policeman, I think in the climax scene, which is like viraling all over the Instagram, and they keep seeing that, right? So he puts it in his blood dinner and he said, "This is my brand, this is what I am," right? So why don't we take inspiration from that point of view, right? That is your brand, that is your resume, right? So you need to build your resume how Allu Arjun explains in that particular movie, right? He says, right, I don't know how many of you follow Telugu here, right? I'm not somebody who built it on scared, right? Okay, so I just built it on my own, right? With a lot of, what do you call, grit and other things. I don't know exact words. I don't remember, but that's how it says. That is how your resume should be. Okay. So that's what brand. If you forgot, just go and look for the dialogue in Allu Arjun's Pushpa. Okay. All right. I think we gone through the template. We walked through all the sections of the resume yesterday, and then we went in detail. A lot of questions were there. We answered all of them. And finally, we come to the section of do's and don'ts. So let me go through do's and don'ts. Pretty much we discussed, but just that we don't miss any. Okay. Spend time in building it. Do not rush. Project yourself properly. As I told you, it's about your branding. Don't over project, don't under project. Project the way you are so that it becomes impressive for the employer. Bring out differentiating factors. As I told you, even though you are classmates, you're all friends, right? You studied in the same college and come here, or come here and become good friends, right? But end of the day, you're all competing for the same job. So ensure that you bring out differentiating factor from your friend. Highlight skills, project, and contributions. Right? As I told, contribution, we showed some examples of what exactly stands out as a contribution. But if you're not done any, it's okay. But mention at least the skills and projects very well. Optimal size, as I told, we discussed in depth about this. Even if it goes to 4 to 5 pages, it's okay. The 4 to 5 pages, it's in fact really good as an entry level engineer. If we can fill it up only with skills and project, that much. Okay. Convey passion and interest for embedded domain. Even when you're writing your objective, right? Okay. Call out this particular embedded system as a one word. And I always tell people, right? You are anyways taken a first step by joining our course, right? In the motivation of having the career in that direction, right? So call out that embedded system part in your in your resume. Neat formatting, very important. That's the reason why we give the template. Students write different font types, different font sizes. Sometimes they copy paste on the internet, but they will not have removed certain special characters, right? And there will be spelling mistakes, right? Okay, very bad. In fact, I see any resume with a spelling mistake, immediately I reject. The reason being, if the person cannot take care of spelling mistake, right? What's the point? Tomorrow, how he will fix my problem, right? He cannot fix the spelling mistake in his resume. How we will fix the problem that he's going to face in the workplace later? So spelling mistakes, strictly no. So call out continuity in terms of education. We discuss in depth, both starting year and end year should be absolutely transparent. No need to hide. Don't need to tell any stories. In fact, many people ask a lot of questions about this, right? I had a bad break between 10th and 12th. After the 12th, I had a break. In engineering, I took more time. I had supplementary. Between MTech and BTech, I had a break. Or I had a break after my BTech and after working for some time because, especially our girl student, they get married or they get a pregnancy, they get a break. Whatever may be the break it could be, right? Please ensure you mention it clearly in your resume by calling out the beginning year and end year. And tell the answer honestly. They'll appreciate you. I'll tell you. They will not feel, oh, how come you can have a gap, right? Nobody's bothered about that today. At least they're not. all the companies which are coming to recruit here in emergency, they're not bothered about. Okay, but they need, when they ask a question, and that also, as I told it, these questions will come only later in the rounds. It will not come in the beginning technical round and all. Your technical person who is interviewing you, right, is not really care whether you had a year break or not. They'll check whether you can answer the question properly. Maybe this come in the lateral rounds, for which you need to be clear or ready with the answers. Be accurate. We already discussed about the percentage CGPA. I think we spent a lot of time how to represent and what type of information. Do not approximate it. For example, don't say 6.97 CGPA as 7 CGPA or 6.49 is equal to 6.5. No, whatever it is an accurate data. And we also said in emergency side, CGPA is equal to percentage, even though that's not correct. We wanted to get that benefit, and because of that, nobody got rejected by any company, and we don't blacklist you either. Don't worry about it. Okay. So be accurate with the data. Invite the interviewer into a zone. Just give me a few minutes. We'll come to that once we start the interview preparation section. Okay. And finally, like yourself, right? You're going to write about yourself. Unless otherwise you don't like yourself, right? You don't feel like writing yourself, right? Like yourself, and as I told you, are a brand by yourself, and then project yourself properly to the interviewer. So what are the don'ts? Many points we already discussed. Spelling mistakes, formatting errors, strictly no. Every word, MS Word that you are using comes with a spell check, right? Run an appropriate spell check, and then you can remove those any mistakes are there. And even when you're writing your English, right? When you're writing your challenges and learnings, right? Even if you're not able to frame the sentence as well, right? Suppose you're writing a project description, you put, but you are not put the what do you call the description, key challenges and learnings, right? Okay, some students I see they find it a little hard to write or form sentences. Anyways, next topic is coming, the what do you call the communication skills part, right? In the interview thing we'll discuss, right? But some of them might not have a great English to represent. Okay, for them, I have recently we figured out, my team keeps experimenting with a lot of tools. One of the very nice tools which I come across, okay, it's called as Quillbot. Anybody? Most of you know. Let me check how many of you know Quillbot. Quillbot. How many of you know? Yeah, online learning made you learn Quillbot. I heard take the copy the question, right? Like read this thing and then do that, right? Yeah, Grammarly is also good, Chandana. But what I would suggest let me just show you. It's a wonderful tool. Let me just showcase here. Let's say Quillbot. They have the it's just a paraphrasing tool. You just type any sentence, it will write it and give it to you. For example, I'm writing a sentence like this, right? Grammarly only takes care of the grammar. Here it takes care of the entire sentence, right? So some students will write like this, right? I am thinking of what to do next. Okay, you type like that and click this button paraphrase. It will easily paraphrase and then give you. Let me see. Hopefully it's a See, look at this, how nicely it says, I'm pondering what should I do next, right? It just rephrases it nicely and gives it to you, and it also gives a recommendation. You can select and change if you want, right? Wonderful tool. And I think for around 5,000 words, it is free. Okay, beyond 5,000, anyways, I have a premium version with me, you can see here. So I use a premium version for writing purpose. But, for free edition itself, will give you 5,000 words or 4,000, I don't remember. Try that. You can copy paste in your own whatever English, broken English. It will nicely put it in a formatted way. You just copy that and then put it in the resume. Very simple too. Okay. Lot of such tools are there. One such tool is this, very, very effective, especially people who have little bit hesitancy in getting the written communication challenge. Please start using this tool. Okay. Yeah, Quillbot generally they use for plagiarism check, but even for forming sentences, we have seen it is working very effectively. Recently, my team members have told this. It's been very, very helpful for many of the people, and I keep recommending to many people, okay, wherever I find it. And definitely, you guys should use this. Yeah. So cluttered information, do not do that. As you saw in our template, very nice spacing is there between one section to another section. Sometimes you clutter the information, it becomes hard to read. We discussed, don't use any ambiguous email IDs, phone numbers, hobbies, like for example, reading books, etc. We discussed very in detail about what is a hobby, what is the time pass, etc. Right? And finally, don't call out obvious things. For example, don't say I know MS Word and all, which is known by a high school student more better than you and me. Right? And hiding important information, no. He said starting year, end year should be made transparent. We discussed in depth about it. And as far as emerge is concerned, right, we don't recommend you put any sort of fake experience or projects. Don't do that. In fact, you may hear or you may even know somebody, they put a fake experience and they got a job. That's okay, right? The world is not fair, that much fair, right? But please note, people who took a shortcut, you might look that they get successful in the short term, but in the long term they suffer. Okay? I would rather say you work hard, be honest, do not put any kind of fake experience and all. If there is a gap, tell gap, that's fine. And because of that, believe me, no student got rejected from emerging, right? At least our recruiters are concerned. Copy paste from friend or colleague, strictly no, don't do that. Keeping is outdated, not okay, because every module you complete, you need to do that. Making it too long or too short, both are not good. As I told, maximum go to 5 pages. Okay. Last but not the least, which is repeated multiple times, that every point you mention in your resume, you should be able to explain. Don't put just because your friend is putting, don't because it sounds very flashy, right? If you, in fact, many of you might have done something in your college, some good tool or something. If you do not have you cannot explain. The interviewer asks you some question and you feel that you're not confident, right? You don't put it. But if you are confident, feel free. People ask me about graphical design tools, any other. You might have worked in different boards. The board would have had its own compiler or its own what do you call IDE, right? If you've done that, put it. And people ask me about, I done web designing, I done freelance project. No problem. The thumb rule is very simple. If you're confident, you can mention. If you're not confident, don't mention. Because if you're not confident, mention, will be caught. In the interviewer, because when they question you, they used to question you based on your resume only. They will be there with them when you're interviewing, right? So then only they'll ask. If you're not able to justify, it'll create a problem for you. Okay. So since many of you asked me about the sample resume is also there in the same link. For example, if you go to emergy.com/embedded systems, just come down, go to DISHA section. And here there is a, I think it's a little bit jumbled up link. It's a sample resume fresher is here. If you click, I think Dinesh's resume will come. He's one of our old, I think 2014-15 student. Pretty neatly done. Let me just show guys this resume. You can see here, there's an objective. And then he's, that time we are not NSDC affiliated, he did not mention. And he put all the, you can see, right, C skills, Linux internal skills, in microcontroller skills, development environment. And look at the way, right? He nicely put, right? Coursework, you can see, right? Wireless networks, microprocessor, image processing, something related to what an embedded system, right? And then his personal attributes is put in. Education, you can see reverse chronological order, but I think he did not put the end year. Here you can see, right? Only he put the end year. He did not put the start year. Don't do that. Ensure you put the end year also, start year and end year both. And he has done a good number of paper presentation. He is mentioned here, right? On some of the good conferences, international conferences. And then you can see, very importantly, the projects. You can see here is done TCP/IP chatting. Is a Linux internals project. Car black box is a microcontroller project. Text index is a data structure or C programming project. And then image technography is a C programming project. And then he's put his MTech project also. Probably he could have divided, right? Academic project like that, he could have divided. Okay. He's put in. You can see 3 pages, very effective. Overall, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 project is mentioned, right? As I told you, right? In Emergy itself, you should do 7 to 8. Your academic added, 1 or 2, right? Overall, try to represent 10. Even though he could have done more, right? I think he's done it in the beginning of his Linux internals module. That he has not done embedded Linux and things like that, right? This is an example of resume. It's a pretty good one. He could have done better though. Okay. I try to find the one with 15 projects, which I keep talking in my workshop, right? I think I deleted that old mails. I'll try to dig up maybe for the next workshop. I was searching. I mean, before the workshop, I sat some time and searched it. Naveen's resume I could not locate. I know. Let me see whether I can put up in the same link. Okay. But this link will, if you grow on this, will give you an idea about how a fellow, this thing is there. Harsh, it's all there. I don't need to send you. You can see, right? It's there in the link. Just showed you. Go to emergy.com embedded systems. Everything is there, which you can download and then use it. And then you can feel free to share with your friends also. No problem. Okay. All right. I think that is what the resume preparation is all about. Okay. Generally, as I told last time, we asked some quiz and all during the pandemic time. I'm having the same slide. Okay. So now we'll move on to facing interviews. Okay. So I'd like to pause here and then take some feedback. How did you find the resume preparation session? Did you give an idea how to write, what not to avoid? Are you confident of building an impressive resume? Can I get some responses before we move on to interview preparation? Ankit says, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All doubts cleared. Says Siddharth. Learned many new things, says Drubajyoti. Got more ideas, says Afsal. I need some more responses. I know today's session little serious, right? I started getting back to slides, right? The moment slide starts, session gets little boring, right? If it's a Q&A or we are talking storytelling, that's interesting. But anyways, we need to run the slides as well. Then clear search is because I will remake my resume session issue. Now I am confident about writing good resume, says Yashas. Yes, sir. Got idea about resume building, says Vinaya. Got a good clarification, says Pragya. Okay, great. Good to see all of you are geared up. And as I told, it doesn't matter whether you apply for placements, you completed the C module, or you wanted to wait, or you are a final year student who has some more months to go, or some of you having supplementary, ask me, right? Anybody can start building a resume from today. Today evening after the 7 p.m. you can start building the resume and take time. Do not, rush it up and then make it in the end, right? Consider all the points, right? Make curious to remake my resume. Correct. Akila says, okay, because if you see, if I look back, right, I'm sure one thing you would have realized for sure, right? You would have put so much of information in your resume without knowing that they're not actually useful to the interviewer. Am I right? All of you? That you will agree with me, right? Okay. You put so much of information without knowing that, oh, this will not be useful. Somebody told I put, right? But now if you see, right? And even now I'm telling, right? If you see 90% of the time I spent about what not to do. What to do, I'm giving a template and a guidance, you go and build it because it's your brand. How I can say, right? Okay, I'm probably the policeman or probably you are the Pushpa, right? You build your brand, right? We are different people, right? End of the day. So Sandeep is asking, sir, after building our resume, will anyone validate and tell about corrections we need to make in resume? We used to do that, Sandeep, but given the current, other business that we have, we are not able to look into that. Okay. But if you still want, you send a mail, say, share it with the support. We'll see whether any mentors can take a look into it, but we cannot commit. As I told it, so many students, so many batches, we are not able to review each and every resume. Okay. Is it fine? Any other questions? Resume. If you look at, right, we come a long way. We did monthly meeting and then we started resume preparation. Resume itself, you see, right, almost like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like 2.5 days, 2.5 session. If you see, we are exactly at 6 p.m., 6:04. Right? 5 hours we spent in resume preparation. Okay. Shall we move on to the interview facing, how to face interview section? Shall I proceed? Okay, all right, great. So as always, right, before we get into the interview facing, right, okay, there's always some background building and there's always some understanding we need to have, like how before we started resume building, we talked about brands and, I heard about your inputs like that, right? Similarly, let me not get into the slides right away, right? Even though I have some small test for all of you, right? A quiz, we can say, okay. But before that, I just want you to tell that interviewing is where you send your resume, then the resume gets shortlisted, and you also go through a written test, either due to that or and then your resume directly sent. Sometimes it gets shortlisted, then you are called for an interview. Okay. So interview, if you see, predominantly can be categorized into two buckets. One is like where it's a purely a technical interview, where somebody is going to evaluate your technical skills, what you primarily learned in emergency, right? And there can be 1 or 2 rounds of interview there, and then comes under the people-oriented interview, right? It could be HR or management round, where they wanted to know about, little bit about your personal side, your attitude, your behavior, and all. And sometimes what happens, even in the managerial round, the manager person can ask you little bit about your personal side, and he can also ask some technical questions. I think students form this keyword called technical HR, they'll say, right? Okay, or what you call management, right? So largely two buckets, technical and non-technical, right? These two are the sections that we go through. Okay. And then finally, once you are done with your both the sides, right? Then they will confirm whether you got selected or not. Okay, so this is how the typical interview process works, right? But before you get into the interviewing process, right, before you go and understand how to answer and how not to understand, how not to answer um, certain questions, right, it is important for you to know more about yourself, you as a person, because once you know who you are and what are your strengths are, and what you are good at, and what are your vulnerabilities, where and all you have you are doing well, right? Often what happens in the business of the life, and then the education pressure, family pressure. Yesterday, some student put a sentence itself saying that my neighbors are pressurizing my parents, etc. Right? We always look out. We always look for this friend, that friend, and it's like we always look out. We never get a chance to look inside. Look inside and think, hey, who is this person? Who is this person called Jayakumar? Who is this person called Vinay? Who is this person called Ankit? Who is this person called Yashas? Right? As a you, are you yourself seeing in the mirror? Okay, so let us take some exercise and try to learn yourself first, right? And then we'll talk about how to deal with the interviews as a next step. Because once you do that, for me, putting across the content of facing interviews becomes easier. Okay, so let me open the slide and show you one diagram. Okay, all right. Okay, if you see here, okay, this is again, you may be thinking suddenly we went into the biology class or something, right? So if you look at a human brain, how many of you studied biology in your class 12? How many of you studied biology? Can I get some responses? Praveen, only Praveen studied? Okay, Shruti, Rakesh, right? Rubin, okay, Pavan, Vinaya, right? So we study, when you studied, in your +2, the biology, right? You see here, there's a human brain, right? People don't know, no problem, studied, so, even I studied biology, but I forgot all of them. So no need to bother. Just look at from a learning perspective, right? What is there in the screen, right? So of course, our human brain has got multiple components, but largely they divide into left and right hemisphere, right? So the left hemisphere is what you call it as an analytical brain, which is responsible for, you can see the various points that are mentioned there. So what is that the left brain is responsible for? It is responsible for analysis, logic, idea, facts, maths, training, related things. That's what your left brain is known for. Whereas on the other hand, your right brain is known for the creative side of the human being, right? The creativity, intuition, arts, creation, feeling, imagination, things like that, right? If you look at, right, we are all mixture of both. Okay, we have a left brain also, we have right brain also. There is a analytical part in us, and there is an emotional or the creative part in us, right? Both the parts are there. But please note, these both the parts are not on the same intensity for all of us. For some of them, the left will be, stronger than the right, or the left will be more dominant than the right one, or in some of them it is reverse, or for some of them it will be relatively balanced. Okay. Let me give you some examples so that you can relate to it, start relating, right? Okay. Even though you come to the embedded systems course, you came with an idea of getting into a core job, and whether you are an online or whether you're an offline students coming and sitting and learning, Let us say, for example, the most challenging module called C program. In the C programming class, assuming that your mentor is teaching you a very complicated topic, or even let us say the initial few days, okay, when you come to emergency, right, you're all excited. Installing Linux, I'm installing Linux. It's so exciting, and always used Windows. You started typing some commands, right? It looks very exciting. Or even shell script, when you write, chota, small program, it comes. But when you really move to C programming, is where the real heat starts. The heat of thinking on your own and building your own program. And as you move from assignment to assignment, class to class, right? When you're sitting in the class, I want a honest answer from all of you, right? Okay. Some of you will be feeling absolutely comfortable. Wow. Okay. Okay. Whatever the mentor is telling, I'm able to connect. And when they demonstrate something, I'm able to code. Or even when they explain about the assignments, right? I'm able to it comes naturally. When I explain, let us say, some kind of a double pointer concept, right? Taka, 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 I'm able to write the programming with ease, right? It comes, I'm just enjoying my programming classes. On the contrary, some of you might finding it very, very difficult to grasp the programming topic. Even though, yes, you know that, yeah, the mentor is doing a very good job. Lab mentors are there to help me, right? And I also have my friends who are, ready to help me. But you know what? When he explains, my friend, right? He's writing taka, 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 coding is going on. But you know what? When I write after 2 lines, my coding is not coming. Okay. Have you ever been in the situation? Okay. Yes, no. I'm talking about a C programming class. I want to know whether you feel comfortable or you are uncomfortable. What is your answer? And even after spending time, week after week after week after week, right? You're finding very uncomfortable. But what to do, right? 4 year engineering over. On top of it, father, mother are dependent on me. On top of it, neighbors come and pour oil into my father's fire, increase my father, mother's BP. I need to get a job, right? You're under pressure, I understand. But leave that pressure for a time being, right? But when the mentor is teaching you the programming topic, right? What is the level of comfort you have, right? I'm seeing some answers coming in. I would expect more answers, only very few of them are tell, right? My answer is you should type whether you are feeling very comfortable or uncomfortable, right? Okay. So Kondal is selling uncomfortable, Munir is selling comfortable, sometimes uncomfortable, says Abhirami. Uncomfortable sometimes says Pragya, depends on the concept, says Afan. Uncomfortable says Abha, very comfortable says Praveen. I consider in the middle of the programming class in the 12th and first time of college, says Siddharth. Comfortable says Ankit, comfortable says Naveen, feeling comfortable says Chetan. In some topics in college, just in some topics I felt it interesting. Uncomfortable says Kishore. Sometimes comfortable, sometimes again say Harsh, right? Abhilash is comfortable. Vinaya says uncomfortable. Rafi is saying uncomfortable. Uncomfortable sometimes says Rakesh. Comfortable says yes, right? I want a honest answer. See, it's not a. I'm not going to judge it, right? Okay. At some parts, effort is required. Yes, I'm telling you. See, I'm not telling you not putting effort. Effort comes later. I'm not talking about an effort part at all, right? Even if you feel uncomfortable, if you put an effort, you can, you can just get better at it. No problem. Okay. That's what we tell people, right? Keep on doing. There is nothing in the world you cannot learn, right? You keep on doing it, you will get good at it. But what I'm saying is that when you are sitting in a class, what is your feeling? What is it you are internally you are going through, right? Okay. If you are feeling very comfortable, which means to say what? Naturally, your left hand side of brain is okay, stronger. It's more dominant. That means say what? Your natural ability to think logically comes to you naturally. For example, when you can see cricketers itself, right? I keep quoting example of cricket, so don't take me wrong, right? Or even if you see in Three Idiots movie, right? When the Amir Khan and Madhavan and I think I forgot the other guy, Raju Rastogi, I don't know his name, I forgot his name, right? When they three of them will be, challenging each other, where they get into the Karishma Kapoor's house, and then all the Kareena Kapoor's house, and they all panga starts, right? In that, Amir Khan tells, right? You ask, Sehwag to play like Dravid, or play Dravid to play like, Sehwag, right? It's not going to work, right? Everybody has got their own natural game, which comes to them naturally. If you go and tell people who've seen Sehwag, right, or in today's world, there is always a lot of debate saying that, hey, Rishabh Pant plays reckless shots, isn't it? Okay. Because that's how he is, right? Yeah, he's trying to mellow down, and I think today he played a great innings, but naturally he's an aggressive player, right? But on the contrary, if in the modern context, unfortunately, he's out of Test series. But if you see somebody like Pujara, okay, you let him play. You go after 2 days, then also he'll be playing. Why? He's a defensive player. That's what his natural game is all about, right? Like that, everybody has got natural game, depending on the way how your mind is organized. The reason why I asked you the question about this particular programming class was, if your programming class is very comfortable for you, naturally, you are a left brain dominant person. On the contrary, people who are feeling very, very uncomfortable in the programming classes, you may be something good at something else. For example, you may be good in some form of arts, painting, sketching, writing, or meeting new people. Me going and meeting new people. So you see, for example, you'll have two friends. For example, one friend, you leave him in a marriage hall, right? In a new marriage hall, he'll be sitting in a corner. I don't know, I can't even interact with anybody. On the other hand, you go leave one guy, within half an hour he'll make another 20 friends, and he'll be the attraction center of the whole marriage hall. Marriage hall, our friends get together or anything like that. You've seen people like that, who can connect with the people much more easily, who can understand the other person's feeling, and they understand by telling what I can attract them, right? I can make them what do you call, listen to me and things like that, right? These are all the people who are having a more dominant right side. For example, when people who are finding programming difficult, very, very difficult, for example, they will find very easy to write a page of essay, right? Where it's all about art and articulation, right? Which is more about the right brain. Or they may be good in painting, good maybe, any of this, whatever they mention, emotions, feeling, right? Because people who are very, very strong in the left brain, they cannot see the human part of it. On the contrary, when you are highly dominated in the right side, right, you cannot see the maths part of it, right? That's why, people who are good in people, right, they struggle with respect to logic, because logic, maths, analysis are all closely connected, whatever you can see in the picture, right? So people who said, I am uncomfortable in the programming language, do you feel comfortable with some of the activities what I mentioned in the right brain? Would you agree with me? Or people who said, I'm comfortable with programming, you may feel uncomfortable with some of the right brain I mentioned. Do you agree with me? Largely, say, I'm not trying to stereotype. It's not like, this is not like a manufacturing, right? It's a human behavior, and there is no right and wrong here. That's the way you are. Depends on your parents, depending on your environment, depending on what did you learn. There are many, many factors that comes into picture. It's not like a logic, right? It's like a human behavior. It's all I'm talking about, right? Your behavior will depend on all these aspects. Are you able to connect with me what I'm saying? Yes, no? You agree? You're able to relate with the points which I'm trying to say, right? Okay. When you are good in this, and some of them may be both. You can talk this way, or you can little bit, go and talk this way also. For example, right? I consider myself who are reasonably balanced, right? I can talk analytically. I can talk very sharp. Some kind of a problem solving I can make, but I can also crack jokes. If you see, right, why are you sitting? Tell me. If you see, right, many people, when you are listening to my session, right, one of the reason why you sit in my class, sir, थोड़ा मजा आ रहा है सर, थोड़ा joke बोलते हैं, थोड़ा कहानी बोलते हैं, बोल बच्चे, and some kind of humor, right? That comes naturally to me because there is an element of right brain in me. But if you go and see people who are highly technical, only उनका left brain बहुत strong है. If you see people who are highly technical, they'll be very boring personality, right? Nah joke, nah, no, they'll only talk, talk the matter. What did you come for? Only this, no, huh? Finish and go, no. What is there to talk? They'll be like that, right? But if you ask me as a person, if you ask me my analysis about myself, I'm reasonably balanced. I can switch my gears here and there. I can talk very technical topics also sometimes. And you know what? To especially when I'm talking in webinar where I'm sitting somewhere and you guys are all over the place, right? Okay. And to make the content, if you look at past 5-6 days, right, to send this particular content, right, I need to tell all sort of examples, right, from 3 Idiots to crickets to masala dosa. What does it come? The storytelling is nothing but my creative side of it, right, which is what I am. Okay, so but as you give me a very complex equation, yes, I did my engineering, right, I did pretty well in my career before I coming to emergency and things like that. But if you give me a very sharp, very tough engineering problem, I may struggle. Okay. So over the years, what I find out is my right brain is reasonably more dominant, but I'm also if you ask me the mathematics, anyway, that's what the test I am going to give you, right? My left is 50 and right is 50. If you ask me, mine is, as of now, if you take, right, my right is are somewhere around 56, 55, and my left is 45. This is roughly the scores I get. Okay. Anyways, I'm telling my score upfront so that, I can ask you to take the test, right? That's the reason why, even when I never come prepared. At this time, I need to crack this joke, right? No, it comes to me naturally. For example, depending on the answer you give, right, I build on it. How it comes to me, right? Because the storytelling or the creative element is dominant in me. But what was my reason? My parents were like that, okay, or the way I brought up like that, right? I learn a lot, or I watch a lot of comedies, okay. People tell me to do watch movies. I don't watch movies, but I watch a lot of comedies, right? Comedy I watch, and then cricket I watch. These two are the only thing I watch, right? Okay, I don't watch anything else. Okay, I don't like to explore anything else, right? So maybe that by listening it, constantly listening it, that comes naturally to me. If you come to my office, right, I don't know whether you've seen offline students come, right? I'll keep on joking around all my team members, right? So that comes naturally to me. That's what I am. I'm just openly sharing with you, right? My request to all of you, the point I'm trying to drive, you may be wondering suddenly why in the interview preparation is talking about this, right? We'll come to that. The message is there. I'm not deviating from the topic, but all I'm requesting you is that how much time you spent about yourself, knowing what you are good at and what which brain is dominant on you, right? Okay, so that's the reason why I'm talking about this thing, right? Now I will, and depending on the your thing, there are a lot of tests that are there. I given one of the link in the one. I think it's fairly easy to type, right? If you want, I don't know, again, sometime when I copy paste it becomes hard to type. Are you able to see the URL? If you see the URL, just type the URL in your browser. Let me just open. Okay. There are a lot of tests are there. I would like to take you the small test. It takes probably a couple of minutes. Okay. If you say, right, if you start, there'll be some questions which will be coming. Okay. So you need to answer the sum of the answer, right? In which direction the dancer is turning, right? Whether right or left, right? There will be some questions like that. Okay. And then you select whichever you feel is right, right? Choose the color, not the word. Okay. Have 4 seconds for each, right? Okay. Okay. So can you take this test? It takes 2 minutes. Take the test, and in the end of the test, it will give you your left brain score and your right brain score. Okay. Not only that, only one answer found. There is a series of questions that which takes about 2 minutes. Can you type that link in your browser, right? braintest.somer.com/en. You can see here. Can you take the test and then let me know the scores? Because I want you to seriously do this exercise. Yeah, braintest.somer.com/en. Can all of you take the test, guys? Yes, no? I want some answers. Come on. Okay, all right. Take it. Take your time. I'll wait for a few minutes. And once you're done with it, finally give the score, left and right brain. Put up your score in the. Yeah, Sanjay is taking. Great. I'll wait for a few minutes. This is a link. Take your time. Take a minute or two. So Prathamesh is telling I use my brain equal. That's okay, Prathamesh, but what is the result you got? You got 50-50? Okay, okay. Oh, my phone went for mute. Okay, okay. Fine. I'm reading some scores here. Sorry, I went on mute. Left 53, right 47 says Mahesh. Uh, Brain use equally says Vinaya. I don't know whether you've taken it or not. See, don't give me answer. I use equally, right? Give me your score. It's okay. Anyways, it's only coming to you now. I'm not going to decide and judge anything on that part, right? Let us have some fun and learn about us. And then Saurabh is telling left 59, right 41. Okay. And Afan is telling 69% left and 31% right. Okay, great. Left is 47, right is 53, says Rubin. 59, 41 says Manjunatha. I don't know 59. Hopefully that is right or left. I don't know. I don't know 50 50. Nagamani, when you say what it is, right? Left and right, please give left and right both. Sanjit is 19% left and 81% right. Wow. And then we have Sonal telling left 59. And then Kondal is telling left 56 and right 44. 68% right says Drubajoti. Right says 42 says Sonal. Left 69. And then right 31 says Sandeep. 47 left 53. Right says Akila. Left 31 right 69 says Subham. Left 44 right 56 says Rabana. 41, I don't know 41 what that. Don't give me one number. I don't know whether it's left or right. Vasanthi is telling left 41, right 59. Left 72, right 28 says Srinath. 15 left and right says Kumar Ankit. Great. 66 left 34 right says Vivek. Right 59 left 41 says Ishwar. Right 69 left 31 says Abhirami. Left 53 right 47 says Ravi. 69 left and 31 right says Ankush. 59 left and 41 right says Vinaya. Left is 50, right is 50, says Srivanala. Left 75, right 25. Wow, says Ajay. 62 right and 38 left says Musa Kasim. 72 left and 28 right says Harsh, right? And then a lot of other readings. Sorry, I'm not able to read all. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of you. Afsal, Vinaya, Rafi, Kishore, Rajesh, Anjum, Manjunath, Nagamani, Iresh, Priyanka, Naveen, Shruti, Siddharth, Jatin, Mansoor, Pragya, Mohan, right? Okay, so thank you very much. I'm not able to read your individual scores, but at least I'll read your names, right? Okay. Hope you're getting some idea about who you are. Okay, because so much time, as I said, we always see outside. Okay, this career, that particular job, this education, father, mother, cousin, college, school, friends, right? We never got a chance to reflect upon yourself, right? If you are getting more scores in your left, as I told, you will be naturally an engineer material. It means you are a what you call problem solving comes naturally to you, programming will come naturally to you, right? Okay. But suppose you are getting little left in left wise less and the right more, right? Okay, don't go and tell your father and mother, you know what? In DISHA workshop, Jayakumar sir made me to take engineering, this particular left brain, right brain test. My right brain is more than my left brain. So somehow you forced me to engineering. From tomorrow onwards, no embedded system, no IoT. No, I'll go and become an artist. If you do that, your parents will chase me and beat me. Okay. So don't do that, right? This is just an idea. And it's not a hard, it's not like a cemented numbers, right? Tomorrow you take, the score will vary. And over the years for me, right? For me, what has happened is for the years, my left was kind of coming down and my right started increasing steadily. Even though I've been balanced throughout my life, right? My left kind of started coming down and right started little bit moving. It happens. Few years later, if you take 5 years later, it may change because we all change, right? We all age, our experience changes and all. It's not like a constant thing, right? Don't take it to like, oh, it's my this thing, right? Okay, my game score is as my engineering percentage is so far, right? So the idea is, right, to understand to who you are. Okay. And some of you may be realizing, right, if your right is too high, okay, and if your creativity is something which comes naturally to you, let me tell you, okay, some important learnings in emergency itself, right? Many students who come and struggle in their courses, right, and they discovered here that this particular embedded systems or even engineering or problem solving is not my cup of tea. They went and discovered their career in other areas. For example, I know one student, very clearly remember, she done an MTech, right? And then she came to our course, right? But she used to struggle in programming, right? Okay. But then later she realized when we did this exercise, then she realized, oh, sir, I understand really why I am like that. But she was very good in human resource and talking to people and all, right? Then she said, I'm interested in exploring career in the people side, right? And then like 3 year story, right? She went and applied and she got a job in HR. And like a 3 year story, she called me and said, you're right, sir. In my first interview itself, I got a job as HR, even though I come from MTech in VLSI design and embedded system, right? Then he said, my father is not agreeing me. Then same 3 days dialogue, right? You go and convince your father, right? It's your crossroad. If you take a route which where you struggle for next 30, 40 years, or you really do certain things which you love, right? She took a decision, she convinced her father, and she's doing very well as HR. She even changed her job. She works in one of the well-renowned MNC companies, a HR. And when she came to Emergy, she came and joined as a MTech. After BTech, she didn't get a job. She waited. She went to MTech. She didn't get a job. Come here, struggle, struggle. She used to sit every day. Poor girl, right? Slog, 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 slog. Nahi aa raha, sir, mujhe. I'm not able to build a 200-line program, whereas my friends are building. There's one more girl who came. She came after I think 4 or 5 years of year gap. Okay. She came. She discovered on the other side. She said, "Sir, amazing, sir. My left brain is so high. That's why I'm feeling so comfortable with my coding." And she immediately got placed through us, right? Even though she had 5 year gap, right? So, she took another side and she went and explored HR, and she's doing very well there. This is one example. There's another student, same student, who used to be extremely hardworking, put like 10 hours, 12 hours in our institute. Not it's the resume. When after the resume preparation workshop, right? I told earlier days we are reasonably small and things like that. I said, share me your resume. The way how he's written the resume was so impressive. The wordings, the way how he articulated the whole project. Then I asked him, "Are you good in writing?" He said, "Yes. I've been writing poems. I've been writing essays." Okay. Then why did you do engineering? No, sir, my father forced me to do engineering. Parents forced me to do engineering, right? I told him, go and pick up. But he was technically could explain things well. I told, okay, you go and get into some kind of a tech marketing type of a role where your job requires a technical skill, but your job is all about talking, right? He's done phenomenally well. He traveled so many countries, right? Every time he meets me, he says, "Sir, thank you for that particular one discussion, right? Where you helped me to discover who I am." Okay. Yeah, see, by putting hard work, right, but putting more efforts, things will come to you. As I told you, don't go and tell your father and mother that tomorrow this test I have taken, I am right brain. No embedded system, sir told, right? I will go and become a HR. I will become a journalist, right? They'll beat me. You come to the course, you're committed, put your effort, you'll get a job. Okay, no doubt about it, right? But I'm saying you, because from the beginning, ever since we started the monthly meeting, right? Your question is always about external, 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 external. What about this? What about this? What about that? Often we don't get a time to reflect among ourselves and understand who I am. What is the game I'm going to play? Is it the game where I'm having my natural strengths, or I'm planning, I'm playing a wrong game? It's something like, for example, allowing our Jasprit Bumrah to become an opening batsman and then asking Rohit Sharma to be a strike bowler, right? It doesn't work. The skills are extremely different, right? And even among batsmen, that depending on the temperament, somebody is an opening batsman, somebody is a middle order, somebody is a finisher, right? For example, Jadeja is turning out to be a very good finisher. Again, I'm taking cricketing example, don't mind, right? So you look at people who are coming down the line, right? Who are more bowlers, right? Bumrah will come, probably Shami will come, right? So it depends on your particular skill set, right? You can, and some of them are all rounders, right? It turned out to be, and we are struggling to find an all rounder, but Jadeja, people like I'm seeing new players like Venkatesh Iyer are turned out to be reasonably good, all rounders, right? They can do both. So my point is that you are unique. Like I said, every brand is unique. You are unique. Your resume unique. Your score is unique. Even though some of you are telling the reporting the same score, right? It's not a mathematical way to calculate. It's a behavior. Just give you a pattern to give you a what idea, right? So my idea is that please understand yourself. That that's my goal of this particular spending this 20-30 minutes before we get into the interview preparation session. So with this understanding, right, take your decision as you move forward. Always have this, but once I turn on this bit, right, because so many years, right, 22 23 years, right, you never know who you are. We are trying to understand every other mechanism. We wanted to know how microcontroller works. We want to understand how Linux works, how the BeagleBone board works. That equipment you wanted to know, but how about this equipment, the most beautiful equipment whatever God has created, right? We never got a chance to go inward. Okay, I'm not sounding philosophical here. I'm trying to understand I'm trying to say that you get to know about your strengths, what comes natural to you, and when you do that, naturally you will excel in your career. What comes natural to you, like I told, right? Some of them came after a 4 5 year career break, discovered she is meant to be a programmer. She's doing very well. In fact, she even messaged me last week and said if she wanted her cousin to join the course, she was asking for some questions and all, right? So as with the other student, right, she also keep posting when she works as a, one of the senior HR person in one of the well-known companies, right? Again, embedded company, but she's on the HR side. Okay, makes sense. What did you learn now? I know this conversation is slightly different. Suddenly you'll think suddenly resume preparation, suddenly left brain, right brain, we went into totally different topic, right? Are you able to connect what I'm saying? Is it making you think? Can I get some feedback about this 20 minutes discussion what we had about you? What is your can you share some inputs on this feedback? I want some more response. Sandeep says yes. Okay. Afan is telling you made us explore ourselves. Absolutely. Right. You explore everywhere else, but not us, right? Okay. Please do that. Okay. Dhruva says yes. Kumar Ankit says yes, right? And the more you are against your nature, right? Okay. And then you're trying to do that, right? It will be challenging. But yeah, putting effort, everything is possible. If you may reach some level, definitely. But this is what you are. Right? Looking myself is something interesting. So today I came to know I will be good at programming. Say Sandeep, yeah, good, Sandeep. Okay, there is a something we realized ourselves. Thank you, sir. Says Pallavi. Right? We don't. But what happens is we try everything else outside, and then wonder why we are not getting the results what we expect. Right? And that's why you come and as I told yesterday, you want proof points. Have these people done? Have these people done? Right? You want proof point. You want reassurance, right? Why you are not confident? Just be confident. Do whatever comes naturally to you, and I'm sure you all will be very successful. Make sense, guys? Any other comments, questions, inputs? How did you find this session? This last 20 minutes, especially slightly different, right? I took you to a different path. Any other comments? Hands-on training, says Afan. All right. Okay. So thank you very much for your words. So suddenly, Lacha, okay, enough, about your personal experience. Let's come to our main topic of interview phase. You may be wondering why suddenly I went into left brain, and then make you take the test, make you realize who you are, right? Okay. Okay, and then Dhruva Jyoti is taken the test again. Sir, this time left is 47, left is right is 53. So don't worry, Dhruva Jyoti. Every time you take the score will be different, right? Okay, don't worry. Just to get an idea where you are. That means that you are kind of balanced personality. That's what I understand, right? Okay. Don't take it too much hard and don't compare. Arey, tomorrow left 80 hai mera. In India, what happens, right? We compare. You left 80, I'm only left 60. But that's why I said, right, left and right is equal to 100. Bhagwan aise banaya, right? Right? If your left is now dominant, this so end of a plus b is equal to 100 only, right? So anywhere nobody can score more than that. All of you scoring 100. That's what if you see. Left plus right is equal to 100 for all of you. There is no doubt, right? Okay. So don't compare. Oh, you are 72. I'm only in India. What happens? You immediately start comparing. You are 72. I'm only 52. How you got 20 more? Let me go to coaching center. Right? So don't get into that. This is also more of a behavioral part, right? It's not a mathematical proof or something like that, right? That's a different thing, right? Just to get an idea about who you are. Don't take it too seriously. Dil pe matlo Dhruva Jyoti, okay? Aram karo, enjoy the learning sessions, right? The point I'm trying to say is like why we are talking about this in the, you know, in this particular interview or interview facing session. Okay? There is a reason behind it. Okay? What is the reason? Okay. First of all, one is like about yourself, what comes naturally to you, okay? And then sorry, what are your strengths and what are your interests, right? So that's more of that. Added to that, how it is related with interview facing. I mean, this is the most important thing, right? We are not here to run some soft skills training or something like that. We are here to do the interview facing skill training, right? In technical interviews, as I already told, right, that's the first interview you will be facing. you are going to face a person, or you are going to meet a person who is more left brain inclined guy. Since he is having more left brain, that's why he went into the company. He did well in his job and is part of the interview panel, right? Because nobody will nominate a person to be in the technical panel if they're not technically good. That you will agree, right? Suppose in the team, in a company, right? If you go and see, in fact, a long time back during my Huawei days, I used to give the other side of training. I used to train people about how to interview others. Now here I'm on the other side, right? Teaching how to attend interviews. In my Huawei days, I used to train people about how to conduct interviews, right? So I used to have about 60 people, right? In that 60 people, I used to pick around 4 or 5 people as a part of the interview panel, right? Of course, myself and my couple of other managers used to be there. 4 or 5 technical people, myself and 2 managers. So this is what this 8 people is what you called as a recruitment team. Now, out of the 60 engineers that I have, I will only pick 5 people, right? I will not allow every 60% to become a part of the interview panel, right? Like I'm talking about the story on the other side, right? So when I used to pick people, I'll pick people who are technically very good. Am I right? The person is technically very good because he is naturally good in his left brain. That's why he's able to excel. I always used to pick my top technical people and allow them being part of the technical side. Anyways, on the people side, we can we can pitch in. I can pitch in, and I used to have a couple of other managers will pitch in. Okay. So which means to say that when you go for an interview, assuming that I am a manager, I'm picked up the top technical guy from my team and I'm asking you to interview. Let us say, for example, Afan is calling or Pallavi is coming, right? I'm going to say, go and do the interview. That person is a naturally or highly possible. You cannot go, don't go and do a test, right? Tomorrow, a sir said, no, you to prove that your left brain is more than right, but don't ask the interviewer to take the test, right? They'll beat me again, right? Okay. Or don't ask the interviewer, is your left brain is really stronger? Are you aware, right? Don't do all this question. This is for our understanding sake, I'm telling, right? Naturally, it's highly possible that you will be meeting people who are more left dominant people, right? So what are the typical characteristics of those people? People who are naturally, left brain oriented. The following are the preferences, right? Okay. They like precise answers. Technical interview means precise answers. A code when you write, there is only 2 possibilities. Whether the code will work, code will not work, right? Okay. Suppose it's a deterministic thing, right? Suppose if I come and ask, right, will this program work or not? There is only one answer. But on the contrary, you ask, are you happy today? You cannot say, right? It's an abstract question. That's what comes in the HR side, right? Technical people expect you to give precise answers. What our students do, they do roundabout answers. For example, the interviewer asks a question: what is a static variable in C? You need to tell what is a static variable. Static variable is a variable which is stored in data segment. It will have a default value of 0. Its lifetime is throughout the program. Static variable can be categorized into 2 categories: static local, static global. The scope of the static local is within the block. The scope of the static global is throughout the file. So when you say storage classes, people who studied C programming can relate to it, right? Whenever you talk about storage classes, we have 3 properties: scope, lifetime, and default value, right? When you are explaining a static, you need to say this is what it is, three properties, how it is. And static is little tricky. That's why they may ask in the interview, right? Static local, static global, and their scope is different, but the lifetime and default value are same. This is what you need to tell. But I assume they talk, what is a static variable? Suppose you start answer like this. In C programming, there are some variables. There are variables like integer, float, character, and then if you put multiple character, it's called string. And there's also something called pointer, which will point to another variable. I think there is something called static, means I think you cannot change the value. But I think that's what you mean by static. If you imagine this is what your answer you give, right? He will not be accepting you, okay, as an interview, because he wants that precise, the way how we explained in the beginning, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, like hitting a bullet. And unfortunately, so what I've seen, many students I have seen is, okay, let me take this word in the interview facing. This is the most important part. Okay, whenever you answer, people, anybody attended interview here? Let me take a question. Anybody attended interview here so far? Any interview through emergency, through outside? Have you attended any interview? Yes, no? Can I get some response? All of you attended, right? Okay, Kishore says no, and yeah, good number of you are telling yes, right? Okay, majority of the times, Students think they're done well in the interview. Interview जो भी पूछा मैं बता दिया sir, ये पूछा, I have answered. But you are not sure whether that particular answer is what convinces the interviewer, right? In case, for example, you answered the static variable, I told two answers. The first answer is the right way to explain. But what you do, you answer it the second way, and you think that you answered the right way. So that's also one of the main reason what I tell people in interviews. It is once you attend the interviews, it is immediately come back and discuss the answer with your mentors or with your friends. Because what happens, we think we always give right answers, and then we will be wondering why I am not getting selected. And we again get into so many other conclusions. उनके पास opening ही नहीं है, that's why बुला लिया, right? ये इमर्जी वाले ना बार बार कॉन्टिनेंटल फ्लोट करते रहते हैं, कॉन्टिनेंटल में कुछ होता नहीं है, right? And you think उसका क्या है, उसका उस दिन लग गया, इसलिए he got job, he copied assignment from me, he got selected, okay? Or he say that interviewer fellow, no, full psycho sir, okay, he just screwed me up. So you tell all, yeah, if you ask me, does it factor play a role? Your panel plays a role, the interviewer plays a role. Yes, it does play, but you know what? It's a minuscule percentage. Yes, they're all human beings, right? Sometimes, let us say, when you go to interview panel, I tell this example, right? Imagine there are two people in the interview panel. One guy, previous evening, he proposed his girlfriend. The girlfriend accepted his proposal. Okay, and he will come to you in a very cushy mood, right? He will ask you a very simple question. He will clear everybody. Another guy propose his girlfriend ने sandal लेके उसको मार दिया, right? He comes in all angry. He will ask all possible questions and reject it. There's a possibility, right? We cannot avoid that. But you know what? It's only a very minuscule possibility. But what happens majority of the times I ask students is they think they answered right way. The problem is with the interviewer. नहीं तो all these factors. उनके पास opening नहीं है sir. Just चुम्मा they're doing. They think this some politics is happening. Or they think that interviewer, no, he's from some different state, I'm from different state, he might have realized I'm not a, उनका हमारा पट्टा नहीं इसलिए select नहीं किया, okay, and that student, no, उनका same गांव का आदमी है. We go all sort of imagination. Do you agree with me? Whenever you attend interview, you would think you're done right, isn't it? Majority of the times. Yes, no? Can I get some answers? Yes, only Vivek, Vikash, right? So first and foremost thing is, right, get into this idea of that. When do you think you need to feel right or wrong? I tell a very simple example, right? You will have friends in your batch, and you may have a friend who think he's better than you. So come to your come to your place, whether you're online or offline student. Come, I tell simple student. And if in case many of you attended multiple interviews and you're not getting selected, anyone like that so far? Through emergency, sir, I attended multiple interviews, but I did not get selected. Anybody like that? Or put a number, how many interviews you attended so far through emergency? People who said yes, right? It's okay, I'll not read your names, don't worry. How many interviews you attended? Students who attended. Can you get some numbers? 1, 2, 3. Nobody's responding. And some of you will be wondering, yes, let me continue, right? Some of you attend multiple interviews and still wondering why I'm not getting selected. Okay, because you're not told the precise answers in the technical interview. Okay, if you want to really be sure how to do that, come back from the interview. All the questions are fresh in your mind. Write down in a paper. In fact, in the WhatsApp groups that's created for the placements also, they ask you, please share which questions asked. You know what? Some students can't even remember what questions have been asked. That's a pathetic situation. And you want Qualcomm to come to you and hire you. You can't even reproduce the question that has been asked. Forget about answering, right? So such people should be extra careful. They're living in some kind of imaginary world. You can't even replicate the questions that has been asked in the interview. Assuming that you remember the interview, right? Okay, come back, write it in a paper, go to your friend whom you think is better than you. Sit with him for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. whether it's online student, you're all connected through WhatsApps. Have a Google Meet session with them if you're an online student. If you're an offline student, just come here. There are even if empty places available. You sit with a friend and validate with him. Hey, this is what I said. Is the right answer? This is what I said. Pura explain. Then let your friend tell. Okay. Then only you can say you answered your interviews well. So please do this exercise. It will make a remarkable difference to your selection. It's a very simple tip, but people we don't do that, right? Okay. So who is a validator? It's not you. It's the interviewer who should tell that you are done well, not you. Because if you ask anybody, everybody will tell you are done well only. In fact, earlier and all, I used to very closely work with my students. Right now, I moved away. I would say in some ways, right? We have mentoring team, placement team, and all. When I meet them in hallway, hey, how did you do? सुपर सा इन तारे जमीन पर that student कैसे हुआ था बिंदास पूरा फोड़ दिया सर okay but I'll get an email immediately this particular student don't have no basic skills right he could not even fundamental questions solve properly right so why there is so much of expectation mismatch because again going back to the previous minute discussion we don't have a good self reflection of ourselves. So one simple exercise, as I'm telling you, to improve your selection probability and to perform better in the interview. Come back, remember the questions, discuss with your friend, and finally ask your friend, okay, how did I do? How many questions did I write and how many questions did I do wrong? Your friend will be the right person to judge, not you. In fact, I tell this, in my home all the times. This funny conversation happens, right? Okay. So my daughter comes and tells me, "Appa, I'm a good girl." I reply to her that I should be telling her, not you, right? Okay. It is always the other person who should be evaluating and telling you how good you are, not you. You should have a reflection of who you are, what I'm good at. That's what the previous exercise I've done, right? Okay. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes, no. Suddenly the group has gone mute. Okay, because is telling yes. Okay, suddenly I'm getting little the topic is getting little different plane altogether. I understand that, right? Please do this exercise will give you a lot of idea about who you are. Okay. Do this exercise and later you'll remember, you'll come back and tell me, sir, I did, sir, then only I realized what blunder mistakes I'm making. Then I'm thinking that Qualcomm will hire me, NXP will hire me, right? Now I wonder, अरे यार इतना गलती किया. Then you focus on your preparation. Okay. So coming back to the technical person's characteristics, he wants precise answers and he expects you to solve the problems. Okay, not to give any kind of a vague answers. He expects precise answers because technical person, right? Very very important, right? And he expects, he checks fundamentals, whether you are good in that. That's what our course is all about. Whether you can make a very good plain dosa. That's what they expect. They know if you can make plain dosa, training you for masala dosa and onion dosa, they can very well do it. No problem. Okay. Lesser emotions. Again, what happens in technical interview, people go and tell emotional stories. Tell me about yourself in technical interviews. And I have seen, initial part of my career, I used to be part of the technical panels also. I've seen people who come to technical interviews and say, tell me about it. Just make yourself. Right, sir, I'm so and so. I come from so and so place. You know what, sir? My father has got a big loan and he could not repay the loan. I am the responsible person in my family, sir. And then if I don't get into this particular job, my whole family will be under trouble, sir. So please give me this particular job, sir, right? So such kind of an emotional, any sort of emotion. See, we all have our own challenges. I have my own challenges. You all have your own challenges, right? So do not tell any sort of emotional things, even the later in the HR interview also. Even though it's about personal, don't become emotional. Okay? And some other people I'm faced where they even cry in the interview. What to do with such people? Tell me. I can give I can be empathize with them, make them drink some water, use some tissue paper to wipe their tears and say, go. What else we can do? Right? Tomorrow when one small pressure comes on the project, they will cry means in front of the customer, what do we do, right? So do not be emotional during the technical interview, right? Okay. And they're not technical people are not bothered about your personality. That's why people you ask me so many questions, right? From Monday, era pass out to this gap, that gap, 10th class gap, I have backlog, this 5-year gap. None of these points is botheration to your technical guy at all. उसको क्या है तुम्हें चीज आता है क्या डू यू नो टेक्निकल वॉट एवर सी प्रोग्रामिंग लिनक्स वॉट एवर इन योर रिटर्न योर रेज्यूमे टेक्निकल स्किल सेट कैन यू आंसर और नॉट So they're not at all interested. Even HR will be little bit, just why we'll talk about it later on Monday session, right? That is how the technical person is all about. So he's a highly left brainy guy, and this is what he likes, he or she likes. And of course, he or she does not like few things. We'll talk about it in the next session, because yesterday we kind of overshot after 7 p.m. and then 7 p.m. we have an internship going live, right? The mentor was waiting, so I don't want to, make them wait. Okay, there are a few thousands of them, or at least few more hundreds of them join for the internship every day, right? So I think we'll pause here. We still have 4 more minutes, okay, and then we'll continue. We I think we'll have another hour or hour and a half. It may not be 2 hours on Monday, maybe one and a half hour. We'll do it on Monday, and then we will wrap up the DISHA workshop. Okay, so I'd like to pause here and then take your feedback. How was today's session? We'll pick up from where we left today. Don't worry. How was today's session? Can I get some feedback? Because it's telling, thank you, sir. Kumar is telling, amazing, sir. Vinay is telling, will you provide interview question? No, we'll not give questions. We'll tell how to answer. It's not a leaking the question paper where you go and answer, right? Don't expect such things, Vinay. We never do that. Very helpful. Thank you, says Anjum. Good, sir, says Pragya. Super, sir, says Naveen. Eye opening, says Siddharth. Good, it's more useful, says Hiresh. Good, sir, says Chetan. Drupajoti says great. And then amazing, sir, says Mohan. Great, sir. Getting idea of preparing for placement, says Sandeep. Thank you, sir, says Mrinali. Really insightful. Thank you, says Abhilash. Thanks, sir, says Vinay. Time just flew. We didn't realize it was 2 hours already. Afan. Yeah, thank you, Afan. Okay. All my right brain only giving the stories, right? To keep you guys occupied. Imagine I come and talk like a robot, right? Okay. Life is a race, right? From our Viru Sahasrabhuti, you guys will run away, right? Even now, even if you see that the numbers keep coming down every day. I think we are currently 80, 90 people, right? Yesterday on to compare, it's coming down. Anyways, that's fine. So very helpful, says Sanjit. Very helpful, says Nagamani. Would you share the resume template? It's already there, Kotesh. You can download from the, I already showed multiple times, right? Every day, keep on learning, says Kishore. Thank you, sir, says Vasant. Tomorrow, there is a AI machine learning. Yes, webinar 7 p.m. I'll be at home. I'll host it from home. Hope all of you are registered. Certificates, goodies are waiting. Okay, just to motivate you. Ensure you attend, because sometimes even in DISHA workshops, I get a lot of questions about AI, ML. Please interact and get maximum from the expert, Mr. Jiddu, right? We are all set up. Our team is ready. Tomorrow we'll all set to go live at 7 p.m. Okay, people, tomorrow anyways you will meet me at 7 p.m. right, for the different context, right? And then good, it's very useful. Thank you, sir. Have a good day, says good day, Srivanala. Lot of myths and assumptions got busted, says Praveen. Yeah, that's main thing what we do. What kind of class? What this kind of class is not there in an academic? True. I think that's what helpful for it. Infotainment, says Akhila. Right, lot of example, right? Yeah, but the entertainment is ensure that you don't miss the information. So please, entertainment is to keep you motivated, but don't miss the information, Akila. Glad. Right. Thank you, says Yashas. Very informational, says Shruti. First time took brain test, very informative, says Sunal. Thanks, sir, says Shruti. Sir, why not any placement mail for before 2019 pass? Ashish, I think we discussed enough. I don't want to answer this question, right? I think you're not attended the initial session. Please go and check out. We've shown so many jobs coming out for the pre-2019 pass outs. In fact, in February itself, we have, I think, some 20, 30 companies which is hiring for no era pass out. You do not see the data. Please check. I already shared in the initial, monthly meeting. Okay. All right, folks, it's 6:59. So thank you very much for joining in. So we'll meet on Monday, same time. I'm not sure whether the link will be same. In case it's a different link, I'll share, because only a book till today. I'll check it out. Otherwise, I'll communicate. I'll also send it in the WhatsApp group, etc. In case it's a different link, right? Because the link will expire by today. Let me check that. Otherwise, we'll meet tomorrow for the masterclass webinar. Okay. So take care. See you tomorrow in the masterclass webinar, most of you. Okay. Chalo. Bye.